Make sure you stick around for a giveaway at the end of the video. Welcome back to Stratagames, I'm Andrew, and today we're doing a deck tech for a new legend from Modern Horizons 2. This is Piru the Volatile. She is a true Elder Dragon, costing 2 red, white, black for a 7/7 with flying, lifelink, and, at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Piru unless you pay red, white, black. Okay, so having to pay to keep your commander from killing itself is pretty bad. Unless they take everyone else with them when they go. When Piru dies, she deals 7 damage to all non-legendary creatures. So, while your commander is on the battlefield, you have constant access to a 7 damage board wipe. Are your opponents getting a little too uppity? Just let Piru die and send them back to the Stone Age. Now, notice that this ability does not affect legendary creatures. So no, she won't kill opposing commanders, but you can build your deck to be particularly legend heavy, turning this ability into a one-sided board wipe. Furthermore, Piru has lifelink. That means that for each non-legendary creature in play when she dies, you're going to gain 7 life, which is just ridiculous. Okay, so let's look for some cards that combo well with Piru's nuke. Since we're going to be slinging around a lot of damage, Torolf is mandatory. He ensures that no damage goes to waste, allowing you to redirect wherever it's needed. Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight, doubles all your damage while having damage dealt to you and your creatures. Sir Conrad hits your opponents for 1 life whenever a creature dies, which will be pretty much constantly. Yahenni grows out of control, is hard to kill, and lets you sacrifice Piru at instant speed. Stormwild Caprador takes the phrase, "what doesn't kill you makes you stronger," very literally. And Brash Taunter takes the damage like a champ, hits the opponent's face with it, and can chump block forever. Now, Piru does cost 8 mana the first time, and we're planning to kill her over and over, so we're definitely going to need ways to ensure that we can either pay or bypass the commander tax. Now, the conventional method is just to ramp harder than Evil Knievel. To that end, we're including Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, Everflowing Chalice, Hedron Archive, Thran Dynamo, Worn Power Stone, Gilded Lotus, and Solemn Simulacrum. We also have a couple offbeat ramp spells. Treasonous Ogre can give you any amount of mana as long as you've got the life to pay, and Honor-Worn Shaku turns each of our legendary creatures into mana rocks. Now that's all well and good, but who really wants to play fair? We've got several methods to cheat Piru back into play after she explodes. Command Beacon lets us bypass the command tax, putting Piru straight into our hand. Netherborn Altar does this repeatedly for a cumulative cost of 3 life. And Geode Golem casts Piru for free from the command zone if it can hit for damage. Of course, a simpler way to get Piru into play is just to reanimate her. We want to focus on repeatable reanimation since she's probably just going to die again. Felden of the Third Path, Chainer Nightmare Adept, Athreos Shroud Veiled, and Gift of Immortality all allow us to nuke and bring back Piru every single turn cycle. Shieldred Whispering One is also great, but due to the upkeep trigger timing, she only brings back Piru every other turn cycle, unless you have a sacrifice outlet to get Piru into the graveyard on schedule. And Burial Rites is a great reanimation spell because it can be cast twice, and from your graveyard no less. Bladewing the Risen can only be cast once, but as long as it's in your graveyard, any of your reanimation spells can give you back 2 dragons for the price of 1. Taking this a step further, Primeval's Glorious Rebirth lets us get back all of our legendary creatures as long as we have just 1 in play. And Thrilling Encore is amazing, to the point I had to read it multiple times because I was sure I had it wrong. For 5 mana at instant speed, it lets you reanimate every creature that died this turn. Not just yours, everybody's. Obviously, this is incredible when you can nuke the board whenever you want, or you can just save it for when an opponent tries to board wipe. Now, if you want your nuke to be spectacular, you've got to make sure your opponents have things to blow up. Shadrick Silverquill, Varchild, Alliance of Arms, and Forbidden Orchard can all keep your opponents stocked with tokens just ripe for the killing. Now, once you've killed Piru a couple times and have about 53 million life, you're gonna want some ways to use it. Aetherflux Reservoir or Felidar Sovereign can just win the game outright. Now, Felidar Sovereign does die to Piru, so be careful with this, or swap it out for Test of Endurance if you have the money. Vito, Thorn of the Dusk Rose, Sanguine Bond, and Vizkopa Guildmage turn all of your life gain into life loss for your unfortunate opponents, which could just kill them on the spot. Now, you do have to pay if you want your guild mage to do this, but its ability can be activated multiple times in one turn, and it does stack, so you could drastically lower the amount of life you need to gain to kill your opponents outright. Stormherd can give you dozens or even hundreds of 1/1 flyers, which can either kill the opponents or get nuked to multiply your life total by 8. And Ailey, Eternal Pilgrim, serves as all-purpose removal once you hit 50 or more life, and can sacrifice Piru at will. Now, Ailey's a great start to our removal package, but we need more. Our pinpoint removal comes in the form of Swords to Plowshares, Path to Exile, and Terminate. Not much to say here, these are just excellent creature removal spells. Anguished Unmaking, Despark, and Generous Gift deal with just about anything, and Gift is generous, giving us another creature to deal 7 damage to. Kaya the Inexorable is also general use removal, ticks up to put a layer of protection on one of your creatures, say Piru, and can ultimate to let you play your many legendary creatures over and over again. Since our commander kills creatures pretty consistently, our board wipes need to have some other uses in case we don't need their creature wipe utility. Merciless Eviction, Cleansing Nova, and Austere Command all have great versatility that allow you to adapt to the situation at hand. And of course, Ruinous Ultimatum is just too good and too satisfying to leave out of any self-respecting Mardu deck. Now we need some card advantage. Villas draws as many cards as you like, and helps with those legendary creatures that Piru doesn't answer. Do be careful not to deck yourself while shooting off an Aetherflux Reservoir, but both these cards are must-answer threats, so if you do have both, the problem shouldn't persist for long. Kothafed draws a card every time another player's permanent hits the graveyard, which we aim to make a regular occurrence, and Mangara the Diplomat draws a card whenever your opponents won't behave. Bolas's Citadel turns your ridiculous amount of life into a ridiculous amount of cards. Disciple of Bolas can sacrifice Piru and draw you 7 cards in the process. This is great, but note that it does effectively cost 7 mana, as you'll have to pay Piru's upkeep cost so she survives long enough to play this. Stinging Study also draws you cards based on Piru's power, but you don't have to sacrifice Piru or even have her on the battlefield. However, this won't work while she's in the graveyard, so keep that in mind when considering whether to leave her there for reanimation purposes. Thalia's Lancers helps us find our legendary creatures more consistently. Flumph blocks early, is a nice political tool, and replaces itself when Piru kills it. Painful Truths is a solid draw spell if you have all your colors, and Phyrexian Reclamation lets us sculpt our hand, turning any card into a creature from our graveyard. In the miscellaneous category, we have 1 card. Lightning Greaves is still amazing, even though we don't necessarily need to protect Piru. Haste is great, because she's still a 7/7 flying lifelinker, so she can kill opponents with commander damage in just 3 swings. Plus, without haste, we have to wait a turn cycle to attack with her, and, well, we might be planning to sacrifice her on her next upkeep, meaning she would never get to attack. So this just gives you some decent play options with Piru. As always, the specific lands you use for fixing tend to be less important to worry about than people think. If you have fetch lands, shock lands, and commander lands, great, but scry lands, check lands, and bounce lands will get the job done just fine, and a whole lot cheaper. Beyond that, I do have some specific suggestions. Command Tower, Nomad Outpost, and Savai Triome provide all 3 colors of mana you need. Phyrexian Tower lets you sacrifice Piru at instant speed, and or helps you ramp toward playing her again. Bojuka Bog is a great way to keep your opponent's graveyards in check. Fetch lands increase in value here due to their ability to reshuffle our deck when we run into a land that Bolas's Citadel can't power through. So let's include Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, and Myriad Landscape. Tirret Sanctum buffs your legendary creatures with +1/+1 counters or indestructibility. And lastly, I've always wanted to try out the legendary lands from Champions of Kamigawa, and this seems like a great spot to do so. They give a nice little bonus to your many legendary creatures. Overall, Piru seems like a lot of fun, and I can't wait to grind my opponent's miserable little creatures into dust. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you to all our viewers and subscribers who have supported us for the last 1.5 years. To show our appreciation, we are giving away a copy of 7 Wonders, which is a great game. It's one of my family's favorites because it is strategic yet simple, it only takes like an hour to play, and it accommodates a wide number of players. And we are giving away a mint/near mint copy of Deflecting SWAT, which is an incredible commander staple that can protect your commander from targeted removal for the low price of 0 mana. All you have to do to enter is be subscribed and leave a comment on this video. On August 17th, 2021, we will randomly select 2 winners from among those eligible, with the first place winner getting to select which of these prizes they would like, and second place getting the remaining item. For more information, please read the rules in the description. Oh man, Blackblade Reforged would be great for this deck.